Now this is going to be about compiling the words about the helper. And this will be part one. I've attempted this and I can't get it all within a file small enough that I can re-download off the web. So what I want to do is start here by saying that all these that you see separated by two spaces, and I will say it, tell you that this is how I actually edited a group of words together. But when you see me put them all together like this verse, which went through with this verse, you can see that it doesn't read right. But when it goes up to here, you can see now that that group is correct. And I needed to correct this text for it to be read right when I seen that it went with these words here. Okay? And that's going to be a lot of why I'm going to be doing a lot of editing when I start grouping things together. It needs to be constantly fit the story. But this text has nothing to do with the story that I'm going to, or the words about the helper. So I can get rid of this text, okay, and start here. Now this was from that group that I showed you. I only got those 3 verses, but this was the next group of words. But we can see that if I get rid of those 2, you can see that when I go up to here, this reads as a group right now. And I had to add the word still, and still some in the world will not receive him. Now, what I have here is I have now these 2 verses, and I know at that time when I was talking about it, how you can tell these words aren't reading in order of the story, because I had put them together and you could just sense that this was like a start of another verse. But when I looked at all the text, I realized that this can move under this verse here, okay? So let me move that verse underneath there. And when I do that, it reads much better that way, okay? For soon those on earth will not see me anymore, but I will not leave them as orphans, for he will come. Now, this, I need to add words to, but what I'm going to do here is show you that I need to move this above what I just have here above. And you'll see that all of a sudden, this, like a puzzle, goes together very, very well. So it will read, I guess don't need the word for now. Soon the earth will not see me anymore. And I need to add the word but. But I will not leave them as orphans. And he's talking about those in the future, for he will come. Now, the thing here is when you're starting to look, I don't need these words now, because if the text would read, but I will not leave them as orphans, for I will ask our Father to give them a helper. So we now know who he will to come, even though when we edited the text, we knew it was about the helper. So now we have this text looking really good, okay? But when I go to the next group of words, you can see that here, yet mine will know him because he will live among them. Yet that day they will know I am with our Father. Now this could be broke into like another chapter or another group of words that he's going to be talking about. But the thing here is you can now see that this works pretty good as text just flowing. Okay. Now, here, the next group of words that I edited, that those two, when you put them together for this like group of words, yet the day they will know I am with our Father, and who obeys my commands and keeps them trusts me. And I don't need the word and now. And I needed to add the word they because we're talking about those in the future as today. Jesus would be speaking, he would say, what I taught you, they are to live by. And I should add the word to here. Okay. I'm going to put that in a special color because right now I don't know if I've moved the text around too much that I might have already done things and I'll forget that. But they are to live by too. So, but when I realized that the text is like this, I couldn't say that the words by his holy words our Father would send him, because it says above here, we know that I will ask our Father to give them a helper. So I've got by my words, and I've gotten rid of these other words here, his holy words, our Father will send them. So when you see the text going together like this, you can see my helper, by my words, our Father will send him. So in other words, it's a command from Jesus that he will ask our Father to give them a helper. Okay? Now, and my helper, okay, that's true. I'm sorry. The next verse here needs to show you that here it wasn't about, I forgot that he's still talking about the future, so I have to change the word you to today's, which would be them. And then I'm going to make that, and I had it a comma before, but I'm now going to have it like this. And now what happens is when you read this, it doesn't read really, really good. So if I go like this and say, let's take a look at this group, and let me bring it down so it can be all on the screen at one time. And it still needs to be a little bit smaller. Now, when you see it like this reads really, really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and this is the first group that I'm moving, and I'll get rid of the text, but I'm going to go down here, and I called this first group HH. So I'm going to put all this text here, and I'm going to clean it up. And then I'm going to get the back, highlight that word so I don't forget. Well, no, yeah, I'm going to do it this way. Maybe without the coloring on it. It'll step out to me because it's a different color, and I know Jesus is talking. So I don't need this here of where I moved it and stuff anymore. Now, as you can see by the verses, I'm going from verse 14:19, 14:18 to 14:16 to 14:17. And those words that read out of place, now as you're reading them, you'll see that they read in place. Make sure you stop the video now. I don't have that kind of time to sit here and read all the text to you because I've got a lot to say. Now, this is the first grouping that goes here. And then you can see I'm going to go through and show you some other groups that need to come down here. And then we'll have these in order to be read and shown you how the story how these pieces to the puzzle go together so well that the text becomes as if it was these words were supposed to be there like this from the beginning. So let me go back up. Okay, I got rid of that text. Now, these were 2 spaces of done, and that's in the group HH is done. Now, this is going to be the beginning of a new group because it just reads out of place. And I had to get rid of the word will. Then you can see that this next group of text that I edited can go with this text. I just needed to add a few things, such as the word for, and from now on, I will not be teaching you any longer, okay? Now, as you can see, I've got the word end of DD, this group here. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple spaces here, because when you read these words here, this is another group that I worked on, but all of a sudden you can see that this is a group, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this text here, get rid of it there, bring it down to where I've got DD at, and it's going to be pasted there. So I can get rid of this now, clean up this text. And let's see, like that. Let's put just a couple spaces there. And now you can see, should enlarge this a little bit more. Now you can see that this is a group and it does speak very well together, even though this verse is only part of verse 30, first part. I think in the video, in fact, I know in the video I showed you that it needed to be split and why, so you have to watch the video to understand why I did that. Now I have 2 verses here that need to be looked at, but the text doesn't go with this text here, okay? So what I did, I just labeled it as VV, and you can see that I'm going to move it later. I'm going to move this because I'm going to remove these text here because this is group ZZ. Because the text here, now I had to add the word must. Now I must tell you this will happen. The pagan ruling the world will come, and not one will be for me. Yet the earth will know I obeyed our Father. That doesn't connect very well when I show you how I can move this next group as almost his last words that are going to be written in when I put all 4 Gospels together, because it's talking about, yet the earth will know I obeyed our Father, and our Father gave me a command, even though they are coming. See, this has got to be related to this verse here. But actually, when you see it being moved, he's going to tell us more about this, and that's going to be here. And because I'm only in chapter 14, and this is going to go way down with 16, okay? Even though they are coming, I will ascend to heaven. Now I will ascend from here, meaning that Jesus ascended before them when they were by Lake Galilee, okay? So then his last words are, for I am the truth vine for our Father. And as a vine pruner, I prune every branch that does not bear grapes, and I will remove every branch that does not bear grapes, and I will prune to bear more servants for me. So here I'm going to take this text, copy it, remove it, and move this down to ZZ and put that here. Now I'm going to go back up there, and I should have those two verses here that are sticking out like sore thumbs, but what I did find is that this group doesn't go with this group. So what I need to do now is say, what about this going with the next text below it? Because when I edited the verses, I got this. And then you've seen from verse 5:9 to 5:14 or 13, there was a lot of verses I threw out. But when you see them together, it is almost like these words, whoops, I need to say, these two verses read together really well. Just as our Father loves me, I love you. There is no greater love for others as someone laying down their life for another. This is what Jesus says his Father loves him for, because he obeyed him, and he obeyed him even the way he wanted him to die painfully. Okay? And now, when this text here gets moved, it'll be 9 and 13. But first of all, I need to move these words here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them not too far, because actually I'm just going to skip from there to here and say, our Father glorified me. You will bring to me more servants by proving to be my disciples. For I chose you, and these are the words I needed to add, and now I assign you to go teach my gospel. I want to add the word go out and teach. So I want to make sure I add those words there. To go out, to understand, meaning go out among other than the promised land. He now wants them to take his words or his teaching and teach the world. But now that you see how well those go together, the next group that I edited down here actually goes together right here. And they go together pretty good, except for when he gets to this text here. So, but if you notice, I had told you it's got to be moved into verse 21, and it's going to get put right here. So this verse, if I take these words here and move them right there, you will see that the text now, can you read all that? Let me get myself out of here. And that way the text is big enough and you can still see it's still one group. Now, when you read this, take the snapshot, stop the video. Let me get a drink here. And I guess I'm doing pretty good on time here, so I've practiced this a few times. This, you'll see how the words flow together really, really well now, just as almost as if they were supposed to be there. And that's what's so unique about this. Now, is that the end of the group? Well, let me explain something. Let me try to explain this verse here, or these two verses. These two verses read as they are separate, okay? So I'm going to put two spaces in between. And then you can see that I don't like this word here, have no excuse for sinning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit that text, okay? I'm going to take that text and I'm going to edit it right here. Right here it is. And what I'm going to tell you is that this here is now going to be edited like this. Now they would have no, now they have, or they would have excuses for their sinning. Now, I wanted to show you something about the word there because it is very important to know that the word there was there to begin with. Now, when I go back to the text, this is where I was editing of this part here. I have to find the word there in verse 22. So when I come up here to 22, here, you can see that the word their sin is here. So let me get rid of this text and show you that when it's cleaned up, get rid of that. Now we'll read like this. Had I not come and taught my people, they would have excuses for their sinning. Meaning that the people at the time were so, it was so corrupt that they knew that the priests were not doing what our Creator had told them to. They had made up their own rules, own regulations. Jesus tells us they changed the commandments. They changed what our Creator, the order of things our Creator had set down and told them how, when He created His nation and all the things that involves of the biggest part is to be forgiven for your sins to enter into heaven. And then the promises that he extends over time talks about Jesus being our king in heaven. So Jesus is the only one who can forgive going into heaven, for you to go into heaven. So whatever they're doing at your gatherings and saying your sins are forgiven, that's bullshit. Okay? Just forget what they're teaching you. They just don't understand who Jesus is and why he is forgiving sins. So you can enter into heaven. They can't do it for you, okay? They are not forgiven. But the object here is now can 22 go next to 23? And I need to come over here to my cheat sheet and see if that's what I've done. Let's see here. 13, yes. I think it goes here because I couldn't find any place else for it to go. But this might read out of place to you as it does to me, and maybe this verse will get moved later. But right now, we have group F, okay? So what I'm going to do is take this group and copy it and delete it, and then come all the way down where it says FL. And place this text here. And this I can clean up and clean this up. Okay. As you can see, we still got a few verses up here that I told you about that needs to be moved. And here, this was the next group of words. And you can see I've got a note that these go together. Okay. But I'm also saying they need to be moved under verse 20 or verse 16 too. Okay. So right down here, we can see verse 16 too. And what I'm going to do is move these to be under 2. Now I can get rid of this text here. And what I'm seeing here, I can see that I've got verse. Yeah, this verse is separated because what I'm seeing here is 29 and 30 are going to go above this verse here. Okay, so I'm going to take these words here that really stuck out as a sore thumb, and these are going to go right here. And then I don't need this text, my notes, don't need this text. But when you read this, it sounds really good here, like I said, like pieces belonging together. Now I must tell you, this will happen. The pagan ruling the world will come, and not one will be for me. And mankind will make mine outcast, and those who will kill mine think they are doing a service for their god or goddess. And those who hate our Father hates me. But when my helper comes, whom I will ask from our Father, he will have a soul for truth, and he who is sent from our Father will bear his witnessing of me. Now, I don't know how many times I have told you that the video of the afterlife right in the description below it is my witnessing, and it is also a video in which every male on earth can do and witness they have a soul, witness the abyss, and see people existing after they've left the earth. So you have proof of life after death. And then I go through and I even tell you how our Creator made me witness Jesus. So now, let me get rid of this text here. Okay. Now I've got this verse sticking up here somewhere for some reason, and I think it's going to go right under here. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm going to move this text here to here. Then this goes together like this. So now we have, he who is sent from our Father will bear his witnessing of me, and just like I have taught mine from stumbling from me, when he with a soul for truth comes, he will guide them in the truths about me, and will not speak of his own wants. He will speak and reveal to them what came from me. He will respect me and not take mine from me, and declare to them all of all our Father has done for mine. And that's the end of that group. Okay. So there is a problem with this group, though, okay? And that is that there's a lot of double text in here. But let me get rid of that and put that here. And then I get rid of this and do this. Because what I'm going to do is go through this. Maybe I still have time. No, I don't have time. What I'm going to do here is go to the last verses, as you can see that I've got here. And this was the last editing of the video, and we find that this text is not about Jesus talking to them that he's leaving and he's ascending. So we know that the text that Jesus is talking about the helper, is being explained to them at the very end. But here, this text all states that in a little while you'll no longer see me, then in a little while you'll see me. This is talking before his body dies on the cross. So what you see here is these words go together, but they aren't needed. So I've got this text will be with them when he meets them by Lake Galilee. Okay. So that text is out, not needed anymore. And this is the order of the text. In the next video, I'm going to go through and show a little bit more editing of what needs to be edited, and then be able to share with you more knowledge of what's being said in these verses. So hang in there and watch the next part.